As I stare out of my airplane window and watch LA fade into the distance, I feel uneasy. As I close my eyes, I can think back to my final night at home. The place where I grew up, the place where I spent, the last 18 years of my life. And on my final night there, my parents called me down to the living room, and they basically tried to convince me that this was a terrible idea. My mom was pretty much doing all the talking, and she was being gentle about it, but I could tell that she was a little bit disappointed. My dad, he just sat there, silent. And I looked at him and I said, "Dad, I know you want to say something, so if you have to get something off of your chest, just say it." So my dad looked at me right in the eyes, and he said point blank, I just don't think you're good enough." Wow. I couldn't listen anymore. I went to my room, shut myself in, and we haven't spoken since. And this whole plane ride over, all I can hear in my head are my father's words. "You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough." I know I shouldn't linger on it, but I can't shake that feeling. I already have fears about this. Going to a country that I never lived before, playing in a league that I've never played in before. What if I'm not good enough? What am I even doing? I'm not Ronaldo. I can't do what Messi does. What am I doing? And then I blink. And just like that, we're touching down at Luton Town Airport. Luton had dispatched an assistant coach to bring me to Kenilworth Road, and I must say, my first thought in Luton was, wow, their assistant coach is black. I didn't even know there were black people in Luton. Second impression of Luton was it was cold as shit. I need to get some new threads immediately because this tank top California look is not going to cut it out here. The assistant coach told me that it was quite a drive from the airport to Kenilworth Road, so I had some time to kill. Great, more time to think. It's just what I need right now. So I tried distracting myself. I thought I'd do, a little bit more research about Luton Town. So I went on Yelp and I typed in best Chinese food restaurant. And these were the results that I got back. The number one choice was a place called, and I kid you not, this is 100% real, Man Ho. 4 stars. It had 5 reviews, and the top review read, "I went to Man Ho for my birthday in July, and it was Dirty Dancing themed that evening." Now, let me tell you, I've been eating Chinese food my whole entire life. I have never, ever been to a Chinese food restaurant that was Dirty Dancing themed. So right off the bat, it was 4 stars, but it didn't look all that hopeful. Number 2 had 2 reviews, and it also had 4 stars. And the top review read, "It looks kind of scrubby from the outside, and I think a lot of people might be repelled to go inside simply because of the way it looks." Okay, so maybe there wasn't going to be any good Chinese food in Luton. That much, I kind of expected. So I went to my second comfort food, Mexican. So I look up, best Mexican in Luton, and this comes up. And once again, I must preface this by saying, this is 100% real. Look it up. The number one place for Mexican food in Luton is called Las Tapas. It's 3.5 stars. And the top review says, Italian food at its best. Italian food at its best for a Mexican restaurant. I didn't alter any of this. This is actually real. So I thought, alright, it's Luton. It's unrealistic for me to think that there's going to be an amazing Chinese or even a Mexican restaurant in Luton. So I thought I'd just look up general restaurants in Luton. And these are the results that I got back. The 2 top places were actually Thai food, which is pretty promising. The 3rd place is Italian. The 4th place, Hot and Spicy, is a fast food place. And the 5th place is Domino's Pizza with 4.5 stars and 3 pound signs. This is the fanciest, best Domino's Pizza I have ever seen. I have never even seen a Domino's pizza in America with more than 2 stars. Oh, and by the way, at number 6 was Manho. And once again, I want to make this absolutely clear. This is 100% real. I did not doctor any of this. So my initial impressions of Luton, not the best. But that was fine. Luckily, before I could do any more Yelp research, we arrived at Kenilworth Road. I was just happy to finally get there and kind of get settled in. And the kit man asked me what I wanted, and coming from an Asian household, we like to keep it humble. So I asked for the basics. No high knee socks, no tight kits, no Under Armour, no gloves right away, no fancy boots. I asked him what did he have, and he handed me a pair of nice white boots, and that's all that I needed. The only special request that I had was, instead of my birth name on the back of my kit, I wanted to be, you know, kind of like a Brazilian, kind of like a Kun Agüero. I wanted my nickname on the back of my kit, and it would say Bok Choy, and I wanted it there because I wanted to remember where I came from and how I got here. And the other request that I wanted, they asked me for my kit number, and I'm going with 36. The reason why is I don't want to take anyone's number 9. I don't want to take anyone's number 10 or 7. I want to get along with the lads, and I want to earn those numbers only if I earn it. After the kit man sorted me out, went ahead, I met with the gaffer, I met with the lads. And while everyone was really nice enough, I had arrived pretty late into the training camp, and everybody kind of had their own group of people that they hung out with. So once again, much like in LA, I was alone again, which was fine. I mean, I'm used to it. Much like LA, in Luton, it would be the pitch where I'd feel most at home. My first time on the training pitch wasn't exactly very promising. I don't know if I was just adapting or adjusting, but it just wasn't clicking in training at first. I wasn't clicking with my teammates. I wasn't doing the drills sharply. Everything just seemed way faster than college. After that first day of training, I could just hear my dad's words. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. But I got up the next day, and I went back to training. And it still was very hard. I wasn't exactly getting the highest grades, but it got a little bit better. It got a little bit easier, and the game slowed down a little bit. Not by much, but enough that I could feel like I was making progress. That's what I did. Every single day, I got up, and I tried to get a little bit better. And the gaffer noticed that, and he appreciated my effort. And he rewarded me with my first start. I was over the moon, and honestly, I don't know if I truly deserved this start, especially with my performances on the practice pitch, but the gaffer had faith in me, and I was going to do everything possible to pay back that faith that he had in me. Now, I'm one of those players that it didn't matter when I was little, it didn't matter now that I'm trying to go pro, it didn't matter in college. I was always nervous before a game. I always felt those butterflies in my stomach, and there was nothing I could do, you know, to really get them out. I could listen to a little bit of music, with headphones on, but I would always be nervous, but I was never nervous like this. My first professional game, I'm gonna admit it, I threw up. I was so fucking nauseous that I threw up before the game. And if I could have thrown up on the pitch, if I had anything left in my stomach, I probably would have. But there I was, taking the pitch of a professional football team for the first time. And it was exhilarating. And I was scared. I was dead scared. This was it. This would be my test. Could I make it? Could I keep up on a pitch full of professional footballers? I had 90 minutes to find out, starting now. And it was a blur. Those first 15 minutes just flew by. I can barely remember anything. I was just a chicken running around with my head cut off. It was way too fast for me. I was pressing where I shouldn't be. I was out of position half the time. I couldn't get a sniff of the ball, and when I did, I was just giving it up like an idiot. The game looked too big. The game looked too fast for me. I was out of my league. I mean, there were a couple of promising movements, but it just wasn't working out there for me. And then in the 35th minute, Barney get their first major chance, a looping header. We are just about able to clear it off of the line, maybe get a counterattack, but then the referee stops play for this. Our captain, Jonathan Smith, goes down in a heap, and he is injured, maybe out for a while. And something in my brain clicked in that moment. I stopped thinking if I could be good enough, and I started realizing that that could have been me. That with one injury, my career could be over. And with that, I stopped thinking about, am I good enough? And I started thinking about, you idiot. Just play. Just play like it could be your final game. I score. With that turn of fortune, I score my first goal in professional football. Albeit a terrible tackle, but given the opportunity, I still had a lot to do. And when that moment came, when my moment came, I was cold. I was still. I was that boy, Bok Choy. From Los Angeles to Luton, I would always be that boy, Bok Choy. And that's why I'd forgotten. That's what I was nervous, but I wasn't nervous anymore because I felt it. I felt in that moment that maybe I won't be Messi, maybe I won't be Ronaldo, but I can't play their game. I can only play my game. I can only be myself and be true to myself. And with that, I grew into the game. Yes, I wasn't perfect in the second half. I still gave the ball away a little bit too much. I am a work in progress. But all those hours on the pitch, all those hours practicing, growing up on the streets of Los Angeles, first touches, passes, shooting, it all came together. I was seeing the game a little bit better. I was getting my other teammates involved. And the game slowed down just that much. And with that, I became hungry. I became hungry for a second chance. A looping cross going inside, but I'm actually crumpled over. And then Barnett would go ahead and say, all right, debutante. You can get all the waffles that you want. But right now, we need those 3 points just as much. And then this what came. I stayed patient. My second moment, I ball roll inside. It's me versus the keeper. And my brace was there. But I still got a little bit of finishing practice to do right there. A brace would have been nice, but a goal on my debut is oh so sweet. And when I heard that final whistle blow, I knew that the words of my father, "You're not good enough," became a little bit quieter in my brain. I know they'll never leave me, and I'll always have those doubts. And I know that I'll always be nervous before games. And I know that the Chinese food in Luton will always suck. But at the end of the match, I was able to walk away knowing that I could compete. That if I work hard, that if I improve every single day, every moment on the pitch, every shot that I take, every touch that I take, every pass that I make, if I work to improve every single time, if I work to improve every single moment, I could go far.